Good morning, comrades. You're listening, or you're watching me now on YouTube. How's everybody doing today? I have a couple of really good stories, but before I do that, I want to plug an interview we did. We recorded it last night. We wanted to run it live, but we ended up not doing that. We didn't get video for it. It's all good. We had on a guest from the Antifada. Her name is Jamie Peck. She's very cool. We had a very good talk about sort of the strategy of the left in the U.S. and it's kind of a wide-ranging conversation about labor and sort of on-the-ground organizing, and even like the role of electoralism and mutual aid, and how that all sort of ties together in the potential of building a socialist party. It's worth checking out. You can check it out on our podcast feed. So definitely give that a look. So today is it is February 22nd, 2022. I just want to go over a couple of stories that are going on out there. So first, I wanted to go over this. So this is from Eater, San Francisco, which I've never heard of before. But it's an article about how food delivery drivers say their pay is sharply dropped after Prop 22 passed. Now, for those of y'all who don't know, Prop 22 is a piece of legislation that was initially passed by the state legislature to put on the ballot for a vote by the citizens, essentially a referendum to the citizens of Los Angeles on whether or not it's basically based on classification of workers. The Part 22 was something that was supported really strongly by Uber and Lyft and all these tech apps. They spent tons of money to get it passed because what it essentially does is it allows them to classify workers not as employees. They wouldn't get like a W-2 like many people get when they work directly for an employer, but more along the lines they would get there would be a 1099 independent contract type worker. And that means that there's a big difference from when you're a W-2 worker and a 1099 worker is when you're 1099, you don't qualify for minimum wage, you don't pay into Social Security, Medicare, you don't get any benefits. Essentially, you are your own entity. You're in a contract directly with your employer, and that can be severable at any point. Or it's a lot more precarious a position. You don't have the same worker protections because you're assumed to be more, I suppose, of an equal. So it essentially takes away, excuse me, it's a workaround for the usual worker protections that you would see in most workers. I mean, worker protections in the U.S. are not great. Let's be very honest here, but this makes it even more precarious, and this is something that's been very strongly pushed, as I said before, by the tech companies, Uber, Lyft. A lot of hyper Democrats have been a part of pushing for something like this, and it's been opposed by largely labor unions, workers, and organizing groups like DSA. Anyway, let's read into this. California workers with delivery apps like Grubhub or San Francisco-based companies DoorDash, Uber Eats, and the Uber-owned Postmates tell The Guardian that they're making even less than they were before the app-sponsored Prop 22, which promised workers a guaranteed minimum wage in exchange for the state's standard employee protections, was approved by voters. So if you try to earn money, it's purely on the delivery fee. It comes out to about $5 an hour, one food delivery driver said. A good day for me is earning maybe $100 before gas and expenses off 8 hours of work. That's only possible, as according to DoorDash spokesperson who spoke with Eater SF, as codified by Prop 22. Delivery companies' guaranteed minimum is only paid during active time, which is defined as the time from when a dasher accepts an order to when they've dropped it off at the customer. In other words, imagine if Burger King refused to pay workers in between customer orders. So it's basically saying we're only paying you when you're working. Oh, and even though like you're on call like the entire time at any given second. So if you have the app on, you don't get paid for that time. You only get paid for when you accept the job. A lot of drivers were duped, under the worker says, of pay and benefits promised by the Prop 22 campaign, and perhaps voters were too. Prior to its November 2020 voter approval, delivery companies and their prices would increase if Prop 22 lost, and then upped fees to cover those apparently shrinking worker paychecks anyway. So, yikes. Let's actually go to the Guardian article that's included in here. But that is bananas. It's bananas in one sense, and it's like totally expected in the other. When the app companies pushed their line on this, when they did it, they were very deceptive. They were very kind of coercive towards workers. They were saying essentially like they were using the app, they were using the Uber, Lyft, DoorDash apps to communicate to not just customers but to the workers as well, that if this doesn't pass, we're going to leave. You're going to lose your jobs, all these things, and they just essentially promise you the moon, and then when it actually shows up, it's a complete and utter lie. So let's go ahead and look at this article. I can't keep doing this. Gig workers say pay has fallen after California's Prop 22. Drivers say working conditions remain poor after voters approved measure exempting Uber and other apps from labor laws. Weeks after Proposition 22 went into effect in California and exempted some major tech firms from fully complying with labor laws, workers for rideshare and delivery apps in the state claim poor working conditions have persisted and pay has decreased. Drivers and labor groups opposed Prop 22, saying it would allow companies to sidestep their obligations to provide benefits and standard minimum wages to their workers, even as they make billions of dollars. The measure passed at the ballot box. It's quote, "It's clear as soon as Prop 22 passed, it was open season to start cutting my pay again," said Peter Young, a rideshare driver for 4 years in Los Angeles. "I'm looking for other work. I can't keep doing that at this pay. I'm doing food delivery right now. Everyone is ordering food online, so there's demand. It's just that they're choosing to pay me. What they're choosing to pay me isn't reliable anymore, and it's getting lower." So essentially, he's working more and getting paid less because of this law that they just passed in California, that essentially says, yeah, we don't owe you anything. You come get what you can get, and it's not going to be that much. When the coronavirus pandemic started, Young switched from rideshare driving to relying on food delivery apps such as Uber Eats, Grubhub, and the Uber-owned Postmates. After Prop 22 passed, he claimed incentives offered to drivers ahead of the Prop 22 vote disappeared, and he has experienced cuts to his base pay amid unreliable fluctuations. There he is again, quote, "If you try to earn money just purely on the delivery fee, it comes out to about $5 an hour." This was on the other article. "A good day for me is earning maybe $100 before gas and expenses off 8 hours of work." Can you imagine? That is 5 times, 20, 5 times 20 is $100? That doesn't, I guess because he's getting jobs like in between that can be fluctuated. On a good day, it's $100. So the best that he could possibly get is that. It's still, it's like $12 an hour at the best, $11 an hour or something, 11.50 on a good day, even. Which we want to. I mean, right now the call to make the minimum wage is $15. You can make it $100 if you want. If the boss has a workaround to not pay that the full minimum wage anyway, because instead of you being a worker, you're a 1099 independent contractor. Haha, gotcha. To not pay
doesn't matter.
The full minimum. So that's a cute trick, boss. The minimum wage in California is $14 an hour as of January 2021. So this guy's making $9 less than the minimum wage in the state. It's also $13 an hour for employees with less than 25 employees. So they've got even two different minimum wages. Ben Valdez has worked part-time as an Uber driver in Los Angeles for 5 years and continued through the pandemic. Excuse me. He works 2 to 3 days per week, 12 to 15 hours per day, and on average makes about $150 per day before expenses. But the pay has continued to vary widely. And, I've kind of lived that life a little while, in a certain extent, not exactly the same, obviously, because it's not the same. I mean, but I did wait tables for a very long time, probably about 10 years. And one of the interesting things about that is because the place that you work is extremely dependent on, the amount of money that you make is really dependent on the shift that you get, the place that you work, the time that you're working, and things like that. And servers, at least right now, only get paid $2.13 or $2.15 an hour. I can't remember which one it is. So essentially, that's nothing. You're paid nothing. So if you have no business, you're not making any money. And so you can go in there, you can make, you can be there for 6 hours and make $200 potentially, or you can be there for an entire day and make like $20. And that's just how it goes sometimes. It's pretty, yeah. That's one of the things that needs to change too. And I don't know. I mean, like, not to make it about something different, but I could see kind of a connection there. I've had maybe 3 or 4 nights where I literally made $4. I've been there too, brother. Through the pandemic, Valdez has paid for things like his face mask and other personal protective equipment out of his own pocket and built his own protective partition in his vehicle out of a shower curtain. Oh my God. You got a shower curtain in his car. Like, that already sounds like it's not great too, because how do you look through your mirror? You'd have to use your wing mirrors, your door mounted mirrors. You can't use one in the middle of the shower curtain blocking. I don't even know if shower curtain does anything in terms of blocking, but I mean, I guess whatever you can do. I was under the impression that I was going to get an additional 30 cents per mile after Prop 22, said Valdez, but he hasn't received that extra compensation because, according to Uber metrics, his pay exceeds their calculation of 120% of minimum wage because they throttle the time. They cut because if the time is the number that they're, the denominator that they're cutting things down. If you're doing it basically incentivizes you to do deliveries slowly. But I mean, if you do them slowly, then you'll get in trouble for that. A study by labor economists at the University of California, Berkeley in October 2019 found Prop 22 guarantees a minimum wage of $5.64 an hour. Good Lord. As only engaged time is accounted for in the wage calculation. So like I just said, if it's the only time where you're like doing it, like you're actively doing a delivery, if you're waiting for a delivery or you're waiting for a job or you're waiting for something, then you're not getting paid for that time, but you're still like, I can imagine a situation where you would go, do a delivery, it take you 15 minutes, you drive 20 minutes to go home, and then you have to go do another delivery, and that'll take you time as well. So like those little like micro takeaways in the middle is kind of killing you. Here's another quote. This one I think is from the same guy. It's from the study. I think a lot of drivers were duped because they expected No, this is from Valdez. A lot of drivers were duped because they expected they were magically going to be able to qualify for benefits that the companies made it sound like they were going to pay for up front, that drivers were going to be getting reimbursement for the mileage, said Valdez. They also made drivers believe that if Prop 22 didn't pass, then Uber and Lyft were going to leave the state of California because they couldn't afford to pay drivers as employees. And again, Uber and Lyft make lots of money. They're app companies. They are funded by Silicon Valley billionaires. That they're crying poor so that they don't have to pay people. In November, California voters passed Prop 22 with 58.63%. That's a pretty massive margin. 58.63% of voters of the amendment to co-exempt app-based gig workers from the California Assembly Bill 5, which guaranteed gig workers the rights of employees such as unemployment insurance, health insurance, minimum wage, and collective bargaining. Uber, Lyft, and other gig companies refused to comply with AB 5 and threatened to shut down operations in the state of California if they were forced to do so. So they're acting like a big bunch of babies. They're saying if we don't get this, if we don't get exactly what we want, if we don't get to screw our workers over, if we don't get to pay them less than minimum wage, if we can't treat them as though, they're a contractor, then we're gonna take our ball and go. You're not gonna have a Uber and Lyft. And I say go, get the hell out of it. I mean, there's taxi companies and different models come in the past, or many times restaurants have commissioned their own delivery drivers, and that's significantly better. But regardless, this has sort of like been used as a subsidy to not even that. It's been like, it has kind of increased the ability for people to get like Go food. I'm not going to like lie about that. However, at the same time, like the way that it's happening is it's just screwing over all these workers, and it's not great. I try not to use these apps too much. Disputes over Prop 22 continue in the wake of its passage. Shortly after it passed, several gig apps announced fees for customers in California would increase to cover the cost of Prop 22 driver benefits, after several of the apps claimed prices would hike if Prop 22 didn't pass. Got you too, customers. If you believed us and said that, if you believed us when we said that prices are going to go down after Prop 22 passes, which we told you would be the case, we said, yeah, if you pass Prop 22, prices are going to go down. And they passed Prop 22 and prices went up. Huh. Weird. Didn't see that coming. The California Fair Political Practice Commission recently proposed a $3,371 fine against Lyft for deceptive and improperly labeled campaign ads in support of Prop 22. Oh, I'm sure that Lyft rather is really going to be hurting after a $3,371 fine. That's going to really kind of put their numbers out of sorts. That's not even like, I mean, for an individual, that's a significant amount of money. But Joe Biden knows that amount of money to my family right now because of he said he ran on the fact that he would run. It's actually a little bit more. It's less than what Joe Biden owes me, which is hilarious. But it's still a significant amount of money for people. I'll take that, I guess. But for Uber and Lyft, these companies, it's nothing. A class action lawsuit was permitted to proceed against Uber, filed by 4,800 drivers demanding back pay and benefits as the rideshare company refused to comply with AB 5 before Prop 22 passed. On 10 February in the California Supreme Court, they declined to review a lower court ruling against Uber and Lyft over the classification of their drivers as employees before Prop 22 passed. Oh, good. Rideshare drivers and SEIU, the Service Employees International Union, have filed a lawsuit claiming that Prop 22 is unconstitutional because it prevents the California legislature from providing workers' comp to workers for the app. So you can't get workers' compensation because you don't work for the app, because you're your own entity in business. That's sort of how it works. One of the drivers who filed that lawsuit, Sohori Okawa, worked as a full-time Uber driver in San Francisco, for a year, and was also working for Instacart and DoorDash when the coronavirus pandemic hit. Quote, Prop 22 hasn't made anything better because the companies still don't take into consideration the waiting time and driving time to store, so they're guaranteed 120% of minimum wage is fraudulent. Got him. Yeah, you should be paid from the second that you leave your home to the second that you get back to your home. I have a little bit of coffee. She says about $180. She pays about $180 a week to rent a car. Oh my God. She pays $80 a week to rent a car through Uber's partnership with Avis and spends about $90 on gas a week. She works 5 to 6 days a week from 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's 10 and a half hour day, folks. She claimed the gig companies had changed base pay without giving a reason, and she was still not provided adequate personal protective equipment while working during the pandemic or compensated for the time she spent daily disinfecting her vehicle and herself. So you're not even getting paid for the time that you're like doing prep for work, which is important when you're driving in a car. It's important for the safety of yourself. It's important for the safety of your customers, the rides, the fares that you pick up. I'm scared and I pray I don't get coronavirus because that means being out of work for weeks without any financial support. Yeah, you wouldn't even qualify for the benefits that you would get as a worker, as limited as they might be. A spokesperson for DoorDash said in an email, quote, "We're proud that DoorDash promotes flexible learning opportunities." What flexible learning opportunities? For Dashers to supplement their income. What the hell? And Prop 22 demonstrates that we can pair the independence Dashers want with even greater security. What does any of this mean? Following the implementation, I'm glad I read this one to the end. Following the implementation of Prop 22, Dashers in San Francisco are making more than $39 per hour on that they're on a delivery. They're doing the thing where they throttle everything. They're just saying while they're on a delivery. And Dashers for the first time are able to earn money towards health insurance under this groundbreaking legislation. I want to go back and look at this quote again. We're proud that DoorDash provides flexible earning opportunities for Dashers to supplement their income. That's like 3 prepositional phrases. We're proud that DoorDash provides flexible learning opportunities for Dashers to supplement their income. And Prop 22 demonstrates that we can pair the independence Dashers want with even greater security. What is it? So I don't understand the part about flexible earning opportunities. I mean, I guess because they have the flexibility. They can just cut off any severability any responsibility they have to work. So the DoorDash is the one that gets the flexibility to earn, to supplement their income, to make money. You're getting more flexible opportunities to make money, but people are making less money. So that's a complete and utter lie. And Prop 22 demonstrates that we can pair the independence Dashers wants with even greater security. I don't understand the security part. And then it goes to lie about the $39. That is crazy. That is just like complete and utter corporate gobbledygook that they're just sort of throwing out there. Like some lawyer probably formulated that statement, or some PR person formulated that statement. And it, like, anybody reading that or anybody hearing that, I mean, maybe I'm on my own here, but that just sounds like a bunch of words, like a word salad. The spokesperson also claimed 90% of workers on DoorDash work fewer than 10 hours per week on the app, and on average, Dashers deliver less than 4 hours per week. Grubhub spokesperson said the new benefits from Prop 22 include earnings guarantees, healthcare subsidies, and new insurance protections. Overall, Prop 22 ensures benefits for Grubhub drivers while predicting the flexibility they value. What protections? What protections? Every worker that's quoted here says they have less protections, but you're just claiming that you're giving them more protections. That doesn't jive. I believe the workers. I don't believe you, Grubhub. You're a liar. Regarding earnings specifically, drivers in California have more stability now with guaranteed earnings that are based on 120% of the local minimum wage and local active delivery time. That's just crap. That's just propaganda. Uber, Postmates, Instacart did not respond to multiple requests for comment on this. So Grubhub was the only one. Grubhub and DoorDash were the two that had the temerity to like, oh yeah, sure, we'll talk to the press and we'll lie to them. That's good. We'll do that. That's no problem. Oh my god. Oh my god. Ridiculous. Uh-oh. Look out. This is like a double problem. I mean, like, it's not a problem from on one end, but then it's a huge problem on another. This is AMC. So for those of y'all who might remember, AMC was one of the meme stocks that I call them meme stocks. Somebody might like get mad at me for that, but I'm kind of going to hold to it. It was when Wall Street Bets, which is a Reddit subreddit, decided to kind of go all in on a particular, number of stocks to kind of like push back on a lot of the, Wall Street, schmucks who, how do you put this? The Wall Street people who essentially like short other stocks, and that's really like, I find it confusing, but essentially you're betting on stocks to go down, and if it goes up you lose a bunch of money, if it goes down you make a bunch of money. But anyway, when that happened, a bunch of people on this subreddit and across the internet, it kind of caught fire. Juice, specifically GameStop, which is sort of like a somewhat failing company or a changing company or whatever, that I used to work for back in the day. And another one that was on there was AMC, which the stock price was expected to go down because of COVID. And now, and a lot of people sort of invested in that. They spent their money on it, and now it's going up because there was an announcement apparently in New York City, which is kind of crazy. I mean, like, in New York City, like, we just had 500,000 people, the 500,000th American, and it's just America. It's not just across the world. There's been millions of people across the world that have died of COVID, but the 500,000th American has just died of COVID. And New York is, embroiled, especially in Andrew Cuomo, is embroiled in this cover up, in this huge scandal of covering up how bad he screwed up the COVID situation in New York. He bullied the mayor, de Blasio, into doing out of doing a lockdown, and then ended up having to do that lockdown himself. But anyway, now in New York, AMC stocks are jumping because New York City says that theaters can reopen with restrictions. So if you held on your AMC stocks, good for you. But now movies are apparently coming back. Movie theater stocks got a jolt of life late Monday after New York's governor, Andrew Cuomo, the guy who's covering up, massive, deaths in nursing homes based on his terrible implementation of a lockdown. He said that the chains in New York City could open. Chains could open next week with COVID-related restrictions. It was the news some beleaguered investors were waiting to hear. AMC Entertainment Holdings shares shot up 14.9%. So if you held on to AMC, you win, baby. In the late afternoon trading, and rose another 9.6 in after hours trading. So I wanted to talk about this specifically, not necessarily because of the stock thing. I mean, like, it's funny, and I think it's, that's not the area where I kind of like to think about these things. But yeah, the idea that we're still in the middle of the COVID pandemic. I mean, the numbers have slowed down like here and there. The vaccine is in the middle of getting distributed, but like the entire way the US has managed this entire situation from the jump was, all right, how do we continue doing everything the way that we had always done it before, without having to change anything, without having to adapt, without having to acknowledge then that we're in the middle of a pandemic? How do we keep workers going to work? How do we make sure that we have to do as little as possible in terms of changing the way things are, changing our society, at the expense of as many, it doesn't, the number of lives that are lost, the number of people who die, the amount of spread of the infection it only matters insofar as how much it affects like bottom lines, right? And so early on, there was kind of like a freak out and huge lockdowns across the country, not everywhere, but public schools were closed, and they were closed just about across the board. A lot of mask mandates and things were put in, but the objective was always, okay, how do we get this back open as quickly as possible? And in terms of like how a pandemic works, that's the worst thing you could possibly do, because you need to keep people from associating with each other for a long enough time so that the pandemic can not continue to rage through giant groups of people. So what ends up happening is people are not provided relief. They're not provided any kind of money to survive. So there's this impulse for people to want to open things back up, because they don't want to lose their house. They don't want to lose their, they want to eat. Millions of people lost their jobs, all these other things too, based off of this, undeniably horrible pandemic. And then there was this sudden, force to reopen things. And this is just another part of that. I mean, there's still been a huge fights over reopening schools. Some places they didn't open them some places they're still closed. God bless them, because you should not be opening unsafe schools. We can talk about that in a little bit. Excuse me. But also, I mean, like, there's like movie theaters have been one of the biggest places that have been closed down because of the capability of spreading this damn virus. And now that's just another thing that's opening up. The schools, the Chicago teachers agreed, unfortunately, to go back to school, putting a lot of trust in Chicago public schools. And Chicago public schools has proved time and time again that they're not trustworthy. But I don't know. This is just like more of the same in terms of, forcing a reopen when we're not ready. We could wait until the pandemic numbers had abated a lot more. We can wait until there was a lot more broad distribution of the vaccine. We have multiple vaccines right now, and it's I don't know. It's making me feel like very anxious about this. Because and I don't know why I feel that way, because I knew this was going to be the case kind of going through, but like seeing it happen in action is actually like a very, very bad horror show. So anyway, just wanted to get that story in. So I have a couple more that I can, maybe one more that we could go through. AMC stock, aren't you excited? AMC go Burr. Yeah, great. AMC go Burr. That's right, Robert. Aren't you excited? I hope you held on to it. Did you hold on to your AMC stock? Do you have the diamond hands? If you got a story, send me one. I'm kind of looking for one right now. I know I wanted to talk about Texas. What is going on? 40. You got 40 shares, and it's up from where you got it when you started it from. I don't know why my camera gets blurry like this. I don't know what to do about it. Hey, I'm beautiful. I think it's focusing on this. I might need to take that picture down. I like it though. I think it's funny. 5.5. It hits 15 to 20. You're out. I'm gonna take you $1,000 and pay it in it, buddy. Buy me a video card. I'm kidding. What? All right, here's an article. Oh boy, it's in the New York Times. All right, let's not do that one. Let's do this one. This one's from the Texas Tribune. It is about Texans and getting. So last week, Texas endured two massive, like, kind of unprecedented, maybe not unprecedented, but definitely like they weren't ready for these snowstorms that knocked out electricity in large chunks of the state, largely lower income, black and brown areas. And it was largely because the electrical infrastructure, which in Texas is extremely lightly, let's just say, or lightly regulated or unregulated. It's free market, man. And there was a huge problem in terms of, the fracking wells and the pipes were freezing up. There were, and they tried to blame it on, wind turbines breaking or freezing up that were, neither of these things were properly winterized. And this is a total and utter like capitalism fail that led to, people across Texas losing power and having to sit in their frozen houses. I don't know how many people it was that have died, but there was a significant. Hey, what's up? There's a considerable number of people who had died because of this. So anyway, here's a story of Texans getting blindsided by massive electrical bills, and apparently the Texas governor has promised relief. We'll see about that. Electric bills are likely to rise for everyone, experts and consumer advocates say, but some Texans are on variable rate contracts. Hi, Sam, have been hit with immediate massive price spikes. Lawmakers and governors have promised to help, but haven't said how. Oh yeah, we'll help you. Just hang on there. Greg Abbott and Texas lawmakers are promising relief for Texans hit with massive electric bills after winter storms bludgeoned the state's power grid. You're gonna unplug everything. This is the show's destructor. Governor Greg Abbott and Texas lawmakers are promising relief for Texans hit with massive electric bills after a winter storm bludgeoned the state's power grid, leaving millions of residents freezing and without electricity. But how they'll accomplish that remains unclear. The state's deregulated electricity market not only allows for staggering price spikes, but effectively compels them for some customers. So, like, wait, what does that mean? I don't understand what that means. The deregulated electricity market not only allows staggering price spikes, but it compels them. It essentially says that like it almost means that like because it's so deregulated, it's going to be volatile. It's just expected. And many Texans are on a fixed rate electricity plan that insulate them from market swings. Actually, mine's like that. We have like leveled billing. The cat and the dog were going wild last night in that recording. We didn't get video of it though. We have leveled billing in Louisiana, and like you can basically make it so that you pay kind of the same amount throughout the year. So, but if you don't have that, you're going to see what happens with some of the folks. As the bad weather bore down, it froze natural gas production in wind turbines, choking off the supply of electricity, and demand skyrocketed in response to the Public Utility Commission appointed by Abbott. Let the wholesale market price of the electricity rise to $9 per kilowatt hour after 7,400% increase over the average 12 cents per kilowatt hour. Oh my God. So talk about going to the moon. Talk about the rocket ship. I mean, like, can you get some rockets in chat? Just because, I mean, really, kilowatt hours went straight to the fucking moon on that day. That's just incredible. What an investment. You ain't got nothing on that, Bitcoin. The rate hike was supposed to entice power generators to get more juice into the grid, but the astounding costs were also passed directly on to some customers who were suddenly being billed for more electricity each day than they normally pay in a month. I mean, we saw this is Karen Knox, a special education teacher. Hey, I'm a special education teacher in Bedford, was among them. She lost power during the crisis, but still owes some $7,000 to Griddy, an electricity provider located in Houston. $7,000, and that's not even the worst one. As the cold snap hit early last week, she was horrified to notice $400 had been withdrawn from her bank account. Yeah. Well above the price her family of three normally pays for electricity out of their 4-bedroom home. She removed their debit card information from Griddy's system and told her bank the charges were fraudulent. She's not going to pay. You know what's crazy about this? Like, this is talk about a buried lead. The first line in this story is about how Greg Abbott is promising relief for Texans hit with massive electric bills. Like, why does Greg Abbott get credit for like the first part of this top line of this story when the real story is these people getting absolutely destroyed by guillotines go swoosh. Give me 1 second. So let me finish up here, and I got one more thing. There's no way I can, and I'm not going to, Knox said during a sweltering summer month. The maximum the family is paid for electricity is $150. Griddy, amazing. Griddy, the company Knox used, is one example of how the state's deregulated system can funnel the cost of power emergency down to the 29,000 customers. The company buys electricity at wholesale prices and passes the real-time rates along to customers who pay a $10 monthly fee for the service. So you have to pay for the service of Griddy, which just completely screws you. I can get into some of the here's the one. It's not clear how many Texans are on variable rate plans like Griddy's, but the arrangement produced eye-popping costs for some during the storm, topping $17,000 for a man television station WFAA spoke to, which triggered outrage from Texans just beginning to pick up the pieces after a bruising week endured, at times without electricity, heat, or water. Over the weekend, Abbott vowed that scaling back the bills will be a top priority. Oh, yes, we're on the case. We're going to handle this. And the state's utility commission temporarily electrical companies from turning the lights out on customers who don't pay. Yeah, you love scams with cute memes. Yeah, adorable. And like this is happening on one side. And I know others have covered this well. I want to make this connection like very explicitly. Jerry Jones is just one of the people who so he is like one of the people who one second. He's saying that his company hit the jackpot as Texas is just frozen. So this guy is already a millionaire. And let me just read this and like just get mad. Hi, G Wolf 333. Devastating winter storms have battered Texas in the past week, leaving thousands of people in the state without power and the heat and dire conditions. Just like we were saying, thousands have been cold and hungry for days as a result of the storms. The suffering for those in the community had been benefit for those producing oil and natural gas with the surge in prices. What does it have to do with sports? Dallas Cowboys owner billionaire Jerry Jones is one of those beneficiaries. I said G Wolf, not J Wolf. I thought I did. Maybe I said the wrong thing. Bloomberg reported that Jones holds a majority share in natural gas company Comstock Resources, Inc., a driller that operates in Texas and Louisiana and has been able to sell gas at premium prices since Thursday as demand jumps amid the cold. Jones's gas company has been able to hit a huge increase as many will see higher bills. Quote, "This week is like hitting the jackpot with some of those incredible prices," Chief Financial Officer Roland Burns said. "Frankly, we're able to sell at super premium prices for a material amount of production." So essentially, what ends up deaf, not Jewish. Essentially, like, and this is just a short little, stub, but these, on one hand, you have, people like this. People like Karen Knox, a special education teacher, who's paying $7,000 for her insurance. For her electricity, because the ERCOT and the state of Texas failed. And who gets to benefit from it? People who are already billionaires, people who own the Dallas Cowboys, people who are like already like rich as hell. They don't need another dime. This is like a complete and utter, upside down. I mean, well, it's not upside down from the perspective of, the people who are in power in our society are already these people. Already this motherfucker right here who owns the Dallas Cowboys, shitty football team, by the way, very, very bad. If anybody who's any football fans in here, I know Robert loves to gamble on football. But Jerry Jones is one of the most horrible individuals and horrible human beings on the planet. And people like Karen Knox, a good Karen. Karen is Sharon, apparently. Choose kind. Oh, that's very nice. She's getting, saddled with $7,000 bills. So that's kind of where we're at in terms of the storm. The rich are getting richer, and working people, regular people, normal people like you and me, like literally like me. Like she's literally a special education teacher like me. Anyway, let's continue on here and we can wrap it up. Gritty did not respond to a request for comment on Monday, but has allied itself with its customers in online posts. Oh, they're posting. Okay, don't worry. They're posting to say like, "Oh, this is going to be great. It's good now. We got the posts on your side." Before the storm, the company had urged its customers to switch to other providers, fearing high prices. Get rid of us. Gritty actually sucks. We hate, we're screwing you. You should get somebody else. You should definitely change your service that we are providing because it's not good at all. An average home uses a little more than 1,000 kilowatt hours per month. Gritty did not respond to a request for comment Monday, but there's a lot of, okay, I already read that part. Did that written twice? Or am I just, I think I have a problem here. We intend to fight for, love to gamble on sports cards, fake company speculation, fake internet coins, all that. Yeah, just the things that don't matter. Specifically the company speculation. That's the most like unglued and unmoored from reality out of all these things. So even though it's got the most material effects on reality, right? Even majority of Texans not on variable rate plans can expect to see their electric bills go up simply because they needed more power to keep their homes warm or reheat them after losing power. They could also face ripple effects later. Next time you choose the retail electric provider, prices might be a bit higher. Next time you choose an electric retail provider, because it's a choice. Choices are good, right? Options are good. Capitalism, it's great. If they, the electric provider, don't have a mechanism that allows them to do that in the immediate, like on the next bill or the next several bills, I'll end up getting rolled into the overall. It'll end up getting rolled into the overall cost of service. It's just a matter of whether it's going to get passed on in an immediate way or in a shocking way, spread out over time. So we're going to get fucked. We're going to get screwed over. We're going to get crushed here. We're going to get, beat over the head with this giant bill. We just don't know if it's going to happen like with a small club 10 times or one giant like whack to the head. So anyway, bye Andrea. So yeah, that's just I'm not going to read any more of this because it's making me another teacher. I will read this part. This last little bit. So that's why Lisa Chumley, some Texans said they signed up for a fixed rate plan were unknowingly bumped over to a variable plan when their contract was up. Okay, this is wild. This is like a double buried lead. This story is like all over the place. The couple is fortunate that they could pay the cost if they need to, but it would be to decimate all savings they'd hoped to put forward in down payment of a home or replacing a car. Jacob described sobbing in bed. How is this our life? How did this happen? They thought we were going to do everything right. They don't have debt, she said. So even like the people who are like doing like living and existing in capitalism, the like quote unquote correct way, are getting screwed over by this. Some Texans have signed up for a fixed rate plan, but were unknowingly bumped over to a variable plan when their contract was up. That's why Lisa Chumley, another teacher in Dallas, said she and her husband ultimately signed up for Gritty. They were stuck in a $1,500 bill for electricity one summer and said T Energy had moved them to a fixed rate plan to a variable plan without their knowledge. The low rates appealed to her. With Gritty, she's paid about $80 a month for electricity for a three-bedroom home. As the storm set in last week, the family didn't lose power, but Chumley was shocked to see hundreds of dollars had been moved from her bank account by Gritty. Her husband checked with the electric provider, and they saw that they owed $1,000. The balance kept ballooning and now tops $10,000. So, like, this isn't just isolated cases. There's a number of them. I'm a teacher and I don't have that kind of money, Chumley said. I get paid once a month, and that's more than I see in 3 months. Normal people can't afford to pay that. Exactly. So anyway, Texas is a complete and utter nightmare. It's a mess. And, this is a crisis that is caused by capitalism. It is a crisis that is caused by free markets. It's a crisis that's caused by slashing infrastructure and making sure that you don't have winterized pipes and all that other stuff that makes it so that you don't lose power. So anyway, I do want to wrap us up. Couple quick plugs before we go. So today we released our a new episode of the radio show. Go to patreon.com/Good Morning Comrade, and then go ahead and give us some money. We need a little bit of money to survive and keep this show rolling. Also, check out our show. We had Jamie Peck on last night. We did an interview. We released it this morning. We talked a little bit about sort of the role of electoralism, of strategy. Yeah, Texas is always a nightmare, but was worse last week. Do you live in Texas, G Wolf? Because I mean, I have family that lives in Texas. I've got friends that live in Texas, and I would actually like to hear directly from Texans on this. Like that would be really cool if I could talk to somebody from Texas on this particular issue, just to kind of get their take off it from on the ground. Anyway, you do? Would you want to talk to me about this? Maybe we could set up a Discord for tomorrow or something. Anyway, yeah, check us out, goodmorningcomrade.com. You can give us money at patreon.com/goodmorningcomrade. Sure. All right. I'm going to look, just message me here. Just send me an email because I'm a boomer. And we could set up something on Discord maybe. Cool. Yeah. So patreon.com/Good Morning Comrade. You can listen to our radio show on WHIV FM. You can also just hit us up. Follow Robert on Twitter at Comrade Morning. Follow me on Twitter at Eminent Prof. Okay, everybody. I gotta go. You should go listen right now to Above It All. Because Andrea, who was our guest in chat, she is our dear friend. And we really want people to watch her program. If we're gonna be riding her coattails, we might as well have the courtesy of at least having her ride our coattail too. It's a mutual coattail riding situation. If you see, but you can go check that link right there. Go watch Above It All, and then give us money. Good morning, patreon.com/Good Morning Comrade. We have a couple of different ways to get things going too. To get money coming. I know we're going to be setting up a Patreon, PayPal and a Venmo. So thanks everybody. Love you. Bye.